Hello there, Nicole. What do you want to connect on this week?
I would like to connect on the differences on conventional and unconventional marriages.
As it applies to Mr. Willard Smith.
As it applies to Will and Jada Smith's arrangement, if you will. Mm-hmm. And what would you like to connect on this week?
I would like to connect on how walking is sufficient exercise to lose 11 pounds.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Also diet and
diet's important.
Long walks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Join us on another episode of the Hallspace Podcast.
See you soon.
Welcome to the Hallspace Podcast. It's about connections. I'm your host, Dr. Ritch Hall, and this is a weekly conversation about whatever and however I see to connect things. For people who want to connect, chat, and learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Without further ado, let's start the show. Hello.
Hey there.
Hello. Welcome back.
Welcome.
We are back with the Hallspace Podcast. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we are doing the thing.
What episode?
Oh, geez. So overall, it's episode number 57. It's episode 30-something this season. 33.
Okay.
So 3-3. Double 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And this is our third live?
It's like our fourth or fifth.
You didn't know there was going to be a test.
I didn't know there was going to be a test. Why are you doing this to me? I don't understand.
I was just putting that out there.
Putting out there the information I did not research before I started talking.
Yeah.
So, it's our fourth or fifth live episode.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Thanks for joining us. We
Thanks for
appreciate
joining
it.
us. For those of us who might be watching, you might not be watching this live.
Hey, you may be watching it later. No worries. Watching it is watching it, you know?
Yeah, it's our fifth live episode. Currently, nobody's watching it. That little zero up there would tell you if people were watching it.
Like the fifth is a lot. Have we done that many?
It is.
Okay.
We have done 5 live episodes.
Hey, all right then.
And then I'm still trying to upload the audio episodes so that people can listen to us via audio.
Via the podcast.
Via the podcast, yes.
Yeah.
But I am behind on that because that's a whole nother mechanism to do that.
That takes work.
It does take extra work. And I have a real job.
You have a whole job and a whole family.
And a whole family. Like children who need my time and attention. And when
or just want it. It may not even necessarily need it.
Yes.
But
just want it.
Yeah.
Whether they need it or not. And aren't very quiet about getting it. They are pretty demanding. That's the thing with kids.
Well, and that's why we didn't record last week, right?
Yes.
I was gone. And
that's an update for those who listened to the previous episode. I was trying to get Nicole to take a day. And she actually took a day.
I did.
She took the weekend.
I did.
She abandoned me and her children.
You said I could take 2 days, and I took
She abandoned me and her children
2 days.
for a weekend.
I did.
And left us behind to fend for ourselves.
And I didn't go far.
She didn't text. She didn't ask how they're doing. She just left.
Wow.
And didn't look back until she showed up at the house again on Sunday.
Listen.
So on Friday, she threw some stuff in a bag and just got out of there.
Friday night.
Yeah.
I did my mom job. I took everybody to the dance class because that's...
No, you didn't. I took them to the dance class.
That's right, because you came home before that. I was so excited.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I'm like, woo, that means you can take him to dance class.
I rushed home.
I'm just going to go.
And and then you abandoned us.
I abandoned you guys?
You abandoned us.
Or did I just sort of take time for myself?
You took the time that I told you to take.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like,
I didn't know you were going to be so finite about it. Like, oh, you just like threw up a hard boundary on, your children. I actually don't mind.
You don't mind.
Like
You do it all the time. We're joking about it, but like this was like you put your husband foot down. Like, no, you can't take the kids to the hotel with you to swim in the pool, even though they would like to swim in the pool.
Right.
Because I mean, that's the...
Stop thinking about them. Think only of yourself right now.
that's always the hard part.
Yeah.
So I took 2 days and I didn't go far.
Yeah.
And you guys had to fend for yourself.
Fend for ourselves. She abandoned us.
Listen.
Didn't call me at night to see how things were going. She just didn't come back. And didn't call. And the kids asked about her a ton, because that's what kids do.
The kids asked. I texted you when I woke up and before I went to bed after I think you might be misremembering how this went. Am I?
Yeah, there were not many text messages. There were very few text messages to know that you were. I was like, I hope she's okay. I hope she got there okay.
You know why?
Uh-huh.
Because I know you're perfectly capable of taking care of the children.
That's why?
That's 100%
because
why.
You feel comfortable with me and the children.
So the Friday night, I mean, after dance class, you feed them, you put them to bed, right? And then Saturday, you do your thing, right?
Yeah.
You took them out, you had fun, then you take them to Gammy's, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. I'm at the point now where the kids are 11, 9, and 6. And I mean, even before this, I knew that you were perfectly capable of taking care of them. Like that's
sure.
Sure.
Just trust me with my own children.
Look at you.
To raise them.
Raising your babies by yourself. Well, I think that was okay. So let's go back. The interesting part of it, they did not go to Gammy's that weekend.
No.
Because Gammy and Titi, I know they went to West Virginia to help. My
mom and my sister were out of town for the weekend to help my brother, who's now moving
from West Virginia to Cincinnati.
And so I had to have the children by myself for the entire weekend.
You had to raise your own babies.
I had to raise my own children for the weekend. Yeah.
Look at you.
And I basically went into like divorced dad mode and just took them places they would like to go. And so Friday was an adventure. We had to like drop Victoria off at dance class, and then we had to come all the way back home because I didn't have lactate, and we were going to take them to the ice cream place because that was closing. The ice cream, we have a lot of creamy whips here in Cincinnati, and those were closing, unfortunately. So,
and getting the ice cream before they close is important.
It was. You don't want to miss it because it's an opportunity to do a thing that your kids will remember, right? So they
remember all the stuff.
Yeah, ideally they don't remember all the stuff, but they remember some things. Like, remember last year when we did this random thing? They will pull out memories out of nowhere, and you're like, where did this even come from that you remember that?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I took the boys to get I brought them all the way back home to get lactate, and then took them to the ice cream place. And then from there, we were there until like 9. We were there till they closed at 9. They shut the lights off to tell us to go home.
Get out of here.
And then brought the kids home, and they pretty much crashed. And then next day took them for a walk, took them to
you took them for a walk,
for them.
Yeah, breakfast, yeah.
And then we went to the trampoline park, and I got suckered into buying a monthly membership. Because the guy said at the time it was cheaper than just paying for them to jump for 2 hours.
And it was.
I
mean, we've been 3 times since then. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Gio, his name is Gio.
His name is Gio, apparently. I didn't ask his name.
So Richie took him. I was on
indisposed.
Away.
Neglecting her family.
I was away, abandoning my family. And so, we have family meetings on Saturdays. And Saturday, we're like, we're going to have our family meeting. Where do we want to go? Daniel and I wanted to roller skate.
Now, I will say this is a fast forward. So we were talking just a moment ago about the previous weekend, and now we're talking about
the next weekend. Yeah.
That we're currently standing in. A week later, we're like, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Sky Zone again? Even we have a monthly membership.
Because you have the monthly pass.
Yeah. Or do you want to go
roller skating?
Daniel was on the Nicole team. I was on team I don't care where we go. It's going to cost money anyway.
Daniel asked what your vote was. I was like, Daddy.
Yeah, he'll
just go with the majority.
I drop you off and I pick you up. And so I said, I gave him the options: trampoline park again or roller skating. Victoria and Ra chose trampoline park.
Well, because they're like, we're gonna possibly see our friend from last week.
Yeah.
And they did.
Unfortunately, he showed up like right before we were about to leave. Like they had a half an hour. When you buy the membership, you can go and jump for 2 hours.
Yeah.
He showed up in one of their last hours. But he doesn't show up till 8, and I don't want to take them to the jump park every week.
Well, it doesn't matter because they had that 30 minutes of time. Like, listen, when he showed up, those guys followed each other from each of the different dodgeball, jumping, free jumping, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm saying it's one thing for me to be taking them at 8 p.m. on Divorce Dad weekend when I'm trying to get them to not think about you. Yeah. Not being home, and then have them there till 10, and then we still go over to no, we didn't go to Gammy's. Remember, there's no Gammy's. They're coming home with me. So keeping them out
weekend,
late that weekend isn't a big deal. But I'm saying going forward, I don't want to bring them there at 8 so that they're jumping till 10 so they can play with Gio. Yeah. And that means I got to get them to my mom's at like 10 and still go home. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too late.
Because we could drop them off way sooner.
Right. And maybe
scram.
And so that creates a logistical problem that I will resolve in the coming weeks while I determine whether or not this membership thing is worth it to keep paying for.
The schedule is worth. I mean, the membership is worth it. It's just the timing, and more times than not, it's based on if you have late Saturday clients, right? Yeah,
ultimately.
And one of the other things that we're kind of dealing with too is play dates. So Daniel has started giving out my name and number. Yeah. With my permission, of course.
For some reason, I found my wife's name and phone number on all these pieces of paper, and I'm confused.
Gotta let them know.
Because in my day, that's how you let the dudes know you're available.
Hi, my name is Nicole. Here's my cell phone number. I mean, but anybody that really knows me, like, I'm not gonna answer the phone.
She does not answer the phone.
Text me.
Not even for not even for her husband and children who have been left abandoned at home. I'm just joking. I did not call. I did not have a reason to call.
You didn't have a reason to call.
Everything was fine.
I love you. I'm gonna say bye. Yeah.
That's what I got. Yeah. I didn't know what she was doing, where she was, whom she was with.
You know where I was, and you know exactly what I was doing.
She's not really a wanderer.
I'm not. I'm not.
She's not very round-heeled. She's just kind of...
I went to one of my favorite hotels, and I ate a bunch of food and drank some wine and watched HBO. Yeah. And I was uninterrupted. Like, that's the difference. I can watch it here. I mean, we have HBO here.
Yeah. But you're going to get interrupted.
You're going to get interrupted.
It's impossible to not be interrupted.
It is absolutely. I mean, and not share your Oreos, your Thin Mint Oreos. I feel like I said this every episode.
They have the mint Oreos that are fudge covered, and I haven't had one of those in forever. I'm on a sugar fast. I've been on a sugar fast since September 7th. I saw them in the store and I wanted them. And that's probably because I have not been eating sugar for the better part of the month. I've also been walking a ton. My average...
My
average steps for this week were 13,000 steps. I got like 17,000 steps yesterday.
So we walked like this morning. We took a walk together and it was altogether like 3 miles, right?
Yeah, it was like 2.5.
2.5 miles.
2.5 miles at least. And that was fun. We had a good walk this morning. And so I've been walking every morning. I've been walking the kids to school.
Right.
And that's two sets of kids go to school at different times. My oldest has to be at school 30 minutes earlier than the other two. So I walk in, walk back, and then walk her, walk back, walk the Victoria and Daniel, walk back. So I'm doing that twice a day. So I go to work with about 6,000 steps every morning.
Yep. And then Wednesdays is the only day that you have to sort of
I have to be at work on time.
Yeah.
And so she has to take her own children to work or to school on Wednesdays. And I abandon everybody and go to work.
I do not walk them.
She does not walk them, no matter.
I do not.
Even though it's easier. It's tremendously easier to walk them than to drive them. Because to drive, you have to sit in the line with all the other schmoes who just back that line all the way up into the street. But when you walk, you just walk in, walk towards the door, walk away.
You walk past the loser line is what happens.
Walk past the loser line. If you get there early enough, you walk past the people in line.
Yeah.
And leave before they're even moving in line. And it's wonderful. It feels like I feel like a boss. Like I'm just like, yeah, strolling in with my kids. All right. See you losers later.
Yeah. But it's walking, so.
Yeah. And it's actually good for me. And I've lost 11 pounds since I last weighed myself. In a month, I lost about 11 pounds from not eating sugar and exercising a whole bunch more.
You've done a lot more movement with this last sugar fast.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And that does, I think, makes a difference.
It does. It does.
As far as I know.
Yeah. I mean, once you're watching what you're eating, which you aren't a terrible eater in the first place.
I'm not that bad an eater.
No, you're not that bad an eater.
But I can be. There were times where, I went through a lot of, in my lazier times, I was definitely eating a lot more fast food than I should have been.
Yeah.
There was a time where I was almost eating 2 dinners because I would get home. You'd be really hungry after work.
You'd grab something and then you eat a full dinner.
And then come home and eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely was like 1,000 calories at the end of the day and then eating a late dinner.
But I mean, we've all been in that position before.
I mean, everybody on this call, but does everybody do that?
Us?
Yes, we're talking about us. I don't know that we can generalize that to the general public. Because some people make healthy choices and never eat fast food. And they're
never.
I remember I was doing a group and they were talking about it's not like I eat McDonald's every day. And then there was one guy in the group, the fellow black guy. He's like, wait, I mean.
Not every day?
Not every day?
Not every day?
And they're like, no, you should never eat every day. And he's like, ugh. And I was like, it's okay. I mean, I've been known to have it 2 to 3 times a week.
But I have $10 to eat for the week as a student. So they have these $2.
But no, those Wahite kids, they apparently eat fruits and vegetables more often, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, if we're talking about mindfulness, right? Depending on what you're undergrad.
Talking about mindfulness?
We are.
Are we?
We are.
Okay. Speaking of mindfulness,
if you are an undergrad and you have $20 to eat for the week and you have your cafeteria plan because you're staying in the dorms, you're just eating.
Yeah, you just eat what you can.
You're eating.
So apparently, no, these newfound kids. I mean, our cafeteria has it has.
You can't get salad wrong.
It has the salad bar. Well, if you're the vegans don't like the salad bar. It has gluten-free options. It has.
See, you talking about Miami?
What is it called? Yeah, I'm talking about Miami.
I'm talking
University.
about UC.
Yeah. UC is probably different. What's it called? Stir fry. It has a stir fry station where you can choose your meats and stuff. The stir fry station is pretty good for what it costs. For a $7 meal. That's a great option.
I mean, if you have the meal plan, it doesn't matter what the meal itself costs. It's just.
Yeah. No,
I'm here at dinner and you're going to give me dinner.
I'm saying it as a guy who occasionally, pre-pandemic, I have not been in the cafeteria since the pandemic, but pre-pandemic would pop over there and we would eat stir fry and stuff. I cannot. I am so afraid of the students right now because I don't know if they have something or not. And they're pretty willy-nilly about these COVID regulations and they be going to bars and fraternizing with each other. And so we've had bronchitis on campus for the last 2 weeks. It is not COVID. It is literally bronchitis because they go and suck face with each other at bars and share drinks and do all the dumb things they've always done, even though there's a whole pandemic. I'm sorry, did you have a question? Was there a question in the back?
Just a comment. I don't want bronchitis.
I don't want bronchitis either.
Okay.
Well, I think we already had our bout with it when Victoria was sick a couple weeks ago.
No, when I get bronchitis, I get it for
it takes you out.
It takes me out.
I've been here for that.
I lose my voice and I can't cough and I can't breathe and all this other kind of stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
Of course, COVID's number one, duh.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't want bronchitis either because I get bronchitis multiple times of the year.
Yeah.
Either from Miami or Pleasant Run or
usually
wherever.
From the kids.
It's usually from the kids. Yeah. But it's. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And there's no vaccine for that one. So
there is no vaccine for that.
You just gotta
get through it.
You just gotta get through it.
You just gotta get through it.
Yeah.
So I think that catches you up. Nicole neglected her family. I took the kids out and did awesome stuff with them. They think I'm the fun parent. And now she's back as a part of our family. And she did a great job cleaning the house today. And
20% of the house.
That's what we're doing with our life and our times. And I'm walking the kids to school now. And they now expect it, except for Ra, who did try he was like, can we just drive to school on Friday?
He really did not want to do it.
And this dude is fussing about me because I told him to go upstairs and find a jacket. He's like, how dare you make me find? And he's like,
no. So you're like, you need to go up and get a jacket because you're going to get cold because it was a cold day. And so he goes up the stairs and he's like, and I hear Richie from the bottom. I'm trying to like sleep in, you know, as much as I can. And you're like, are you up there fussing about me?
Yeah. 'Cause whom do you think you're speaking about?
He was like,
I can hear you. Yeah. And then he walks all slow and pigeon-footed up the street, and I'm like, we're going to be late. I definitely got the call on Friday that we were late.
I was going to say he was absolutely that late.
Oh, that was the other thing. It doesn't matter. He was still late. That happened. We're walking up the hill, and I say, we got 4 minutes. We can make it. He's like, there's no point. I was like, well, not with that attitude, but if you don't give up, we can make up the hill. We can make it up this hill.
Yeah.
Because it literally is like an incline before you get to the school, which is now a downcline.
Yeah.
And so he rushes a little bit. So it's the path
through the...
Yeah, he rushes a little bit, and then he slows down again, and I'm like... And, I'm not really a there's no use type of person. Like, dude, we are not a there's no use kind of family.
Either we're going to try
if there's an option, we're giving it all we can, and
100%.
we don't give up.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to explain that to him, at 7:27 in the morning, because we've got 3 minutes. And I'm pretty sure we could have made it if his attitude had been right.
That last bell rings at 7:30.
But then he just slowly goes down the hill, and he, there's a certain point where I stop and just watch him go the rest of the way. And he's just not. He has no hustle on him. Like, he did not want to do it today. He also, I will to rewind, he woke up with a crook in his neck, and he believed that meant he should have gotten out of school. He had been up late watching the Bengals game with his mom. The Bengals won. He was super happy. And then he woke up like,
field goal, baby.
Yeah, and he's like, my neck hurts. And I'm like, okay. And then I come back in the room, he's not dressed. And he was like, my neck hurts. I was like, are you trying to tell me you don't want to go to school because your neck hurts? Because you go to school when your neck hurts. So
put your clothes on and go, boy.
Right, we had to have 2 father-son conversations. One, you got to have a real problem to not go to school. And 2, don't ever look me in the face when I'm saying we can go and tell me it's no use. Like, that's not something I will tolerate as your parent.
You're physically capable.
If you are physically capable of doing the thing, you're going to do the thing.
You're going to do the thing.
And here's your 2 options. You're going to do it willingly or unwillingly. Or I'm
going to drag you. Like, there's...
Willingly or unwillingly. Those are your options. And you might get dragged. You might get pulled along, but it's going to happen.
Either way, you're going to do it this way.
Because I'm not that new school of a parent that I don't believe that certain obligations have to be met, whether you feel like it or not.
Yeah. No, because we understand as adults in real life.
It don't matter how I feel.
It doesn't matter whether you could be like, you could go to your boss tomorrow and be like, I don't really feel like doing therapy.
Sometimes I do. I say it to him. Like, I'm not feeling it this week.
Is he like,
oh, good. No. Take some time to yourself.
No, he's like, you have a 1:30.
He normally says, I get that. But there's nothing. However, there's no follow-up.
Well, I mean, okay, and let's make like
I work with a bunch of psychologists.
Like let's talk about this caveat, right? So there is something to be said for. I mean, when you talk about people like you guys who are therapists who are helping other people, you do have to have a level of mental capacity in order to handle the work that you do, right? Yeah. So like nurses and doctors, like you guys.
Yes.
You got to be in a mental space.
The American public currently doesn't feel that way because nurses and doctors are very overworked right now due to the current circumstance. And society does not seem to care a lick. Like we were clapping for them a year ago, but we're way too burnt out.
There's so many of us. That's the thing. There's so many of us that really do care. I can't be a nurse. I work in IT because that's what I can do best. But I appreciate those people that are teachers, those people that are, in the hospitals, the nurses, like, the psychologists. Like, this is important work. I'm not equipped to do that kind of stuff, but I appreciate the people. Exactly. Not my calling, but the people that are, I really believe that they're gifted and that is important and that
there's a value.
There absolutely is a value to it, whether, society puts a red star in it or not.
Gold star. It's a gold star.
Gold star. Is it gold star?
Yeah, you give people gold stars for a job well done. Yes. So no, you don't get a gold star for that. But I do think we should put more value on the healthcare workers who are definitely overworked as a result of the pandemic.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know what I was about to say next.
Well, even with the people that do that kind of work, you get tired.
Oh yeah,
you have your own lives, you get your own, and that kind of stuff has to be considered and taken into consideration, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's tough work, and there's a lot of us that just are not able to do that kind of stuff, but we appreciate the people that can do that kind of stuff, like you guys, right? Like, it's...
Some people appreciate it. Not everybody appreciates it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you too. But it is not ubiquitous. It is not... the world over does not always appreciate the work that is done by those of us who carry the water for society to keep things healthy and or safe and or whatever. And so, work's been pretty hectic because we're at that point in the semester where there's a lot of kids who need help, who for some weird reason waited until they got to school to get any help. And then as if the stress of school was going to be a good time to start learning things about themselves and their mental health.
Or access.
Some of it is access.
I mean, if I'm at home during the summer, I mean, where am I gonna find my therapist? Right? I go to school and I go to
the student counseling service.
The student counseling service.
All the mental health services available.
You make everything easier to access.
In some ways, not everything. We make therapy specifically easier to access. There's a variety of other services we do not provide.
That's enough of that. That's enough. That's a start.
It's a start.
It's a start.
But also, the internet still exists, and so if you wanted help in therapy, you could get it by going on the internet.
You are not understanding the difficulty.
I do understand the barriers to access.
Okay.
And that they are real.
They are very real, and there
in the world.
For myself who struggles with so there's a lot of us. We know we need help. Okay, it takes a point. It takes time to get to that point, right? And then you're like, okay, where do I go to look for said help? Well, I have these options in front of me, right? So these students are like, hey, there's a counseling center at Miami. Okay, right? Well, I don't start school until August.
So I'm gonna just wait, even though I'm currently in distress now. I'm gonna just wait till I get to school to fix this broken leg. I'm not saying people shouldn't access the help and that they shouldn't seek it from us. I think it's my just awareness of, like, I've got a toothache, but I'm gonna wait 3 months because I might be in the general vicinity of a dentist. It's like, I think you're
missing that there are a lot of people that would wait for the toothache.
Yeah, I know that they would. And I think, to bring up dentistry brings up, that there's a lot of disparities in access to dentistry. But for my students who often have quality health care and those types of services.
So you're saying you have access and you're still waiting to come.
They're still waiting. Like they have.
I mean, okay. All right. I hear that.
They're paying a pretty high price to come to us.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. And so they often have their own health insurance. They often have their parents' health insurance. They have access to resources, but they're waiting to use this resource because it feels more convenient, which it does have some convenience.
It feels more convenient. That's the whole point, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah. I mean, but to get into the weeds of it, we bill ourselves as a short-term facility. So we're not even going to be your therapist for 7 years.
No, but I'm going to start with you. And then if I need something more than 10 weeks, then
we'll refer
me to yeah.
I do understand there are barriers to healthcare, and I do believe there's a much deeper conversation to say
different.
That. But my perspective
Somebody said,
is
what about Will Smith?
Oh, we never got to Will Smith, did we? We were supposed to talk about Will Smith, and we totally forgot.
We did. Yeah. We did.
Well, we will talk about Will Smith in just a moment. What we were supposed to do is take a break in a second.
We're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about Will Smith.
We're going to take a couple-minute break, and then we'll talk about Will Smith
his
and book and his recent article
Jada,
on GQ.
And their open relationship.
Yeah.
What?
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back to talk about Will Smith.
I have words on that.
I also like Will Smith.
I do too.
We will talk about Will Smith in a moment. I'm a big Will Smith fan.
I am too. What I heard was that he's available.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll be right back. So let me tell you about Anchor Podcast. It's the podcasting service that I use. Anchor.fm is the easiest way to make a podcast, and there are many different reasons why, but foremost is it's free. So you don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of equipment. If you have a phone or a computer and a microphone, you can record and edit your podcast right on your phone or computer. So that's one major benefit, as well as the fact that they'll distribute your podcast to several different podcasting sites for you. Not only can your podcast be found on Anchor, it can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast as well. So you don't have to worry about going to all those different sites and setting yourself up. They'll do it for you. You can also make some money on your podcast. Say you have a podcast that only 5 people listen to on a regular basis. They don't limit you on how many subscribers you have to have in order to be able to make a little bit of change for your podcast to keep yourself going. So pretty much everything you need to start a podcast can be found at Anchor.fm. So go download the app either in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, or go to Anchor.fm to get started. And I guarantee you, it'll make things so much easier for you, like it has for me. Have you ever wondered why humans just aren't who we say we are? Psychologize You is a podcast by licensed psychologist Dr. Ritch Hall and licensed therapist Frank Baker. Join us as we explore why humans human the way we do. Hopefully, you'll learn a little bit about how the mind works, mental health issues, and ways to cope with this thing we call life. Weekly, wherever you get your podcasts.
Love, relationships, the church, the world as we see it today, and many more thought-provoking conversations. This season of Speak Kaya, She's Come Undone Talk Sessions, coming to your ears soon. Keep watching.
Now we're back.
Hey there.
Welcome back to the Hallspace Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ritch Hall, and this is my lovely and capable co-host and wife,
Nicole Hall.
We forgot to do the intros at the beginning.
We did. We just
started talking.
We did.
As always.
We just started jumping in there and
and then spent the whole half hour talking about random us stuff and did not get to our subject.
Yeah.
Which was Will Smith.
Yep.
Willard James Smith has been in the news recently because he did a GQ article wherein he disclosed the real Will Smith and talked a lot about his life and his relationships. Mm-hmm. And as we remember before, there was a discussion about the entanglement that Jada was involved in. I believe we discussed that on the show.
We did.
And it was a discussion about, he kind of revealed some things about their marriage.
Yeah.
And that their marriage has been rumored for years, is an open marriage.
Unconventional.
Is an unconventional marriage. That Jada always wanted an unconventional marriage.
Yeah, which
blows your mind a little bit.
Absolutely blows your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about you. It blew your mind personally.
It absolutely blew my mind. Yeah. I mean, we heard about the entanglement with August Alsina.
Yes, that was his name.
And then he comes out with the book and it's like, yeah, we have an open relationship, an open marriage.
Mm-hmm. He never really says. Does he say a full open marriage in there?
He does not.
Heavily.
He implies it heavily.
And it's always been kind of implied in some of the language they've used.
Yeah. I mean, like when the articles came out this last time, this was like confirms that they have
the things we've always kind of known as an undercurrent about him.
Right. And we as lay people don't have the same we don't live in the same world necessarily.
We do not live in the same world as they do.
We do not live in the same space that they do.
Yeah.
They have reach and freedoms that we don't understand.
Resources that we will never, like, I'll never understand what it's like to be worth millions.
Well, no. We'll never understand what it's like. And one of the things that they talked about in their house is that you wake up and there's 20 people there.
It's a compound.
Yeah.
It's called a compound.
It's a compound, and they have
full production studios.
There are people there to do production. There are people there to clean. There are people there to cook. There are people there to do all these things that just I do.
Yeah, I think in one interview I saw with Will Smith, he said that he feels like he's sort of alone in his home when there are 7 people there.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you wake up and you got like 10 people that are
around all of the time.
All the time.
So you're never alone.
To do stuff at your direction, right?
But never alone.
You're never alone. And I think for me, like, there's this additional sort of level of stress because you're kind of like, they come to you, right? Like, I mean, that's like my struggle with the kids. It's like they come to me, where's my sock? Where's that piece of paper that I had on Wednesday?
Yeah, no, you're running a business.
Yeah,
so you got to be able to answer all the questions that they ask.
And I have my own things, right?
Yeah.
But so you wake up and
for an introvert like you, it would just freak you out.
It would just really...
It'd be too much.
It'd be too much.
Yeah.
It'd be too much. And maybe, they have arrangements or people that understand that about them and can accommodate that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's fine too. Mm-hmm. But there's constantly this, you get this harem, basically.
Yeah.
On your compound, like there's 20 people.
It interesting that you say harem because it's very much like being a.
Jada is super fine.
Yeah, I think he might be saying you're fine.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that gentleman.
Hi.
There's a gentleman who's said something in the Twitch about her being fine, but he might be talking about my wife. I don't know.
Hey.
But DG King, yeah.
Hi. I mean, like, if just a quick tangent. They had Method Man on the red table.
Oh, did
they did with Jada and Willow and Gammy, and he was talking about how he turned himself into. I mean, he's been a snack for a while.
Yeah,
but he turned himself into this like muscular snack.
Yeah, he's really built right now.
He's to be almost 50, exactly.
Yeah, he's going into his 50s, looking pretty good.
One of the things he said, he was like, I looked at the pictures of Gammy. Which is Gammy is Jada's mother.
Yes.
Yeah. And she works out and she looks fantastic.
Yeah, she does look great.
She looks
That's also the benefit
beautiful.
of having a team that can help you to look
100%.
However you'd like to look.
Yeah. Like we're walking 3 miles on Sundays. Like
right.
He's taking the kids up and back, up and back, up and back.
Right. We're finding ways to be fit. But
I'm not single. I love this. I love that.
Yes, my wife. No, my wife is not single, but thank you. Yeah.
Hey there. But yeah, I think there is a relief there because for Will Smith and his family, there are people there that will handle things they don't have to worry about.
Yes.
Right? So, which
is an interesting statement about their marriage because like they've got everything they'll ever need. And yet there is
but yet there is this
unhappiness.
There is this
that leads them to chase things out in the world that normal people chase. Yeah.
There's this hole, right?
Yeah.
Like we have these holes and we just kind of
have to plug it in or just keep moving
ourselves.
Along.
Yeah, like
and they have all the things they need.
Yeah.
And don't.
Well, and I mean, honestly, so they have people to fill the holes, right?
They have people for the business side.
Right. But I mean, if we're talking about just plugging holes in general, if you fill a hole or I fill a hole, it feels differently. I would assume that it would feel differently than if someone else came in and said, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Like,
it depends on what it is.
Like one of the things that I do like about Will Smith, particularly this incarnation that we're seeing in the 2020s, in the late, whatever we'll call it, the 2020s, is that he has been through a lot of therapy. So, he seems to be a dude who has done the work on himself to be a better person.
Yeah.
And so for that, it's like, well, the money buys you the resources of, say, as many therapy appointments as you want.
Or the time that it takes to go through really good therapy. Yeah.
And to get really deep, and he doesn't have to worry about health insurance saying you get about
I'm squeezing my therapy in with all the other stuff that I'm doing.
In between feeding the kids and taking showers and trying to live your life every day.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm taking
keeping the
showers.
laundry done.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, once again, the benefit of being this person who makes so much money and does so much.
Yeah.
I guess it tells me that fundamentally you could be as human as you want. And no matter how much you achieve and no matter how high you go, unhappiness can still find you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it can make your, not necessarily your life difficult, but you can, if you don't take care of that self, then there will always be a reason to feel unfulfilled or empty or whatever. Because it seems like if you read the article, that's a lot of what Will Smith is talking about is, he could not figure out how to make Jaden happy. And then if you've heard them in other articles, it's like, oh, he realized he couldn't make Jaden happy. He had to work on himself. She had to work on herself. They had to figure it out for themselves, which I feel like is next level husband wifery.
That's definitely next level.
That's not stuff you know in your 20s.
That's not something that you understand in your 20s at all.
Yeah.
And it's definitely like there is this next level where it says, I'm not responsible for your happiness.
Yeah.
I want you to be happy.
Yes.
Right? But I'm not responsible for your happiness, and you're not responsible for mine. Right? Yeah. And there are some things that even like personally for us, it's like, it's your job to figure it out and handle it, right?
Yes.
I will be there.
I can support you.
But
right? You have a responsibility.
But you have a responsibility to figure out
for yourself
what that means, right?
Mm-hmm. Because some of that is just going to be, it's on you.
Yeah, right, and I mean that's the big part of it, and I think that's interesting because it's also at the same time that we're trying to empower our children to brush your teeth, shower,
do the things that make you a decent adult, a decent human being, a functional member of society, etc.
There are things that we've taught you how to do, and if you don't know how to do, we'll show you how to do it again, right?
But that there's a level of personal responsibility. We are the types of parents who believe there is a personal responsibility that is sort of at the center.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, we're a little more new school or new age, right? Yeah. But our parents were like, "You got school at 7:30.
Yeah. When that alarm goes off, get up. I'm gonna yell up to you once, and you're gonna take a shower. You're gonna brush your teeth. You're gonna get dressed. You're gonna go to school. You're gonna be there on time." Here's the thing that I know about working with kids and adults now. We all remember our pass through the haze, so I'm pretty sure they were just as annoyed at us as we are at having to repeat ourselves with them.
Yeah.
And that we weren't nearly as obedient as we remember ourselves through the haze of memory.
We definitely were not.
So I try to cut my kids a lot of slack on that as a result of recognizing that. Just because I remember, I always listened to my parents. I didn't. I remember that I didn't. There were many a time where I was trying to get over on them.
Well, you thought you were.
Yeah.
You thought you were listening, and Yeah.
Yeah. So, Willard Smith, great gentleman, big fan, but once again, a lot of therapy. He's been to a lot of therapy.
He's had a lot of therapy.
That marriage is an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
That is not for the week.
It is not for the week.
Well, what's funny is Nicole came to me and was like, well, what if I told you that you could go out
What if I said to you, all right, we've been together so many years. We can have an open relationship with certain rules and regulations.
There are so many logistical challenges to make a thing like that work.
Listen, first of all, let's talk about his response. Let's talk about it. He's washing dishes. It's Saturday morning, and I'm like, what if I said to you, we could have this open relationship, right?
I would not trust it.
He was like, keep washing dishes.
I'm not even going to make eye contact because this could...
He didn't even turn around,
This could lead to nothing but pain's going to come from this.
But
because
he's like...
There's a part of her that's asking this as a hypothetical question, but there's definitely a wrong answer. that I could give.
100% the wrong answer.
Right.
And so he's like, oh. And I said, okay.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to ask you again. That's the wrong answer.
Uh-huh.
Your answer should be, I would never
ever consider Halle Berry as an option.
Right. It's kind of like, I don't know how many movies we've seen where it's like, no, I ask you and you're like, oh, I would never. I ask you again, you're like, oh, I would never. And then the third time you're like, okay, well, maybe I would. Yeah. So,
unfortunately, my latest crush, Ashley Blaine Featherston, just got married. So there's no chance that I would have with her, even though she's considerably younger than me in a way that would get annoying.
She is considerably younger. And that's okay.
And Kelly Rowland is also married.
She's also married.
So,
but
unfortunately, I like
But Will
married.
Smith is
Married
apparently in an
available.
open marriage. So what I heard was he's available.
That's what you heard.
That's what I heard.
Sometimes he's available.
And Jane is okay with it.
You're not sure when that is.
Does he like chocolate girls? Because I can make that happen.
You're not sure when that is. Exactly.
I don't care.
So the stars have to align in multiple ways for you to catch Willard Smith.
I will be ready when it is time. Okay. I will be ready when it is time. All right. Mm-hmm. And if for whatever reason Method Man decides to jump on this train.
Wow. Now Method Man's my competition?
He's such a snack.
Oh, jeez.
I don't even know.
Wow. Okay. I'm learning new things today.
You're learning.
I didn't even know to be worried about that dude.
You're like, oh, he's happily married. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is Method Man's name Clifford Smith? Now I have to Google this. You don't even know what his real name is.
You
don't even know what his real name is.
I don't even know what his real name is.
And you're over here salivating.
But we've talked about like our top fives, right? Before. And so
Clifford
like
Smith. I got it right. Clifford Smith is now my competition. That dude.
Listen.
He looks great for his age. He's really doing it for himself.
He's really,
Don't get so caught up, okay? I feel like you're getting way too dreamy about this particular subject.
Am I?
Yeah.
Because I don't even know the other girl that you were talking about that you like.
Which other girl? It's not Kelly Rowland?
That's not Kelly. Yeah, right. Like, who's the girl that's not Kelly Rowland? And Kelly Rowland. Kelly Rowland doesn't have a butt like mine.
It's okay.
It's okay. Clutches pearls,
I'm saying Kelly Rowland's butt is okay. I can handle it. It's fine.
Clutches pearls, y'all.
Ashley Blaine Feather. You know who Ashley Blaine Featherston is? She's the dark-skinned girl from Dear White Girl.
Okay, yeah. Y'all seen him still?
She's freshly married. She's literally like 2 weeks. She got married like 2 weeks ago or something. So nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. All mine are completely unavailable. Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah. Idris Elba's married, so
Idris Elba's totally married. They are talking about Idris Elba as James Bond again, which is weird because
why not? Why is it a thing? Now. Is he?
He is too old now.
Is the guy that's playing James Bond in his last movie too old?
Daniel Craig? Well, yeah, since he's been doing it for like 15 years.
He's been doing it forever. Why is he?
He also did 5 movies.
Why is he?
He wasn't too old. He was like 20-something when he started.
They just don't want Idris Elba.
Okay, I feel like here's the thing. I'm a big fan of Idris Elba. There's hundreds of roles I would want for Idris Elba. I don't want James Bond.
You don't want him to be James Bond?
Not anymore.
You don't want him to be James Bond?
There was a time where I'd have been like, oh yeah, he could be James Bond. Now
we about to have a problem. You don't want him to be James Bond?
I would appreciate Idris Elba playing a variety of spy characters. James Bond as a character, I'm just like, it's fine. He'll be fine without being James Bond. I really do want to see him in that Western movie, The Harder They Fall. So I'm looking forward to that. But I don't care if he's James Bond anymore.
I don't know you.
The ship has sailed. On the ship has sailed. And I'm an avid viewer of the James Bond.
It hasn't sailed for Daniel Craig.
It has. That's why this is his last one. It sailed.
How is it that it's Daniel Craig can have this one last chance and Idris Elba cannot?
Because I believe that there also should be a variety of other roles that people should have access to, and I believe that he should get any of the other roles. I mean, I think, honestly, we can come up with like 3 good roles for him that aren't James Bond, but he doesn't have to have that one.
James Bond.
Now, if we were talking 10 years ago, absolutely, let him be James Bond. Now?
He can do it now?
Yeah. Here's the thing. He wouldn't get... So it's similar to my frustration with Chadwick Boseman not being recast in Black Panther.
You think anybody should be...
I think... No, I understand that when you cast a person in that role, right? You can't cast a 50-year-old actor to start the Captain America franchise. You need someone youthful who's going to be around to do 3 movies over the next 10 years. If we were to cast Idris Elba now at 50-something to be James Bond... He'd
have 1 or 2 movies is what you're saying.
Yes. So, you know what I mean? And I remember old Sean Connery trying to be James Bond. It wasn't the same. So while I do believe
with it.
He should have access to a variety of roles, I do not necessarily believe he should be the James Bond.
I feel like with his career,
now, if
he should be allowed 1 or 2 James Bond movies.
Even
if they're only 2.
I believe he should be allowed to
and
create the next franchise character. Absolutely. Should he have that franchise character? No. And the Broccoli family that runs the James Bond estate they're not gonna. So I'm sorry. Why are you so attached to this, by the way? This is like, so what you guys don't know is a couple nights ago, I got really into trans-Neptunian objects, and I was like talking about it for like a really long time. It was very passionate about Pluto not being a planet, and Nicole was just staring at me like surprised that I was so passionate about it, and I was just talking
so serious about it.
And I'm like learning that there are like 9 other objects that I had not been paying attention to for so long, and I'm like, oh, Haumea is a thing, and there's one called Quar, and like...
Our 11-year-old is learning about...
gravity, mass,
space, mass.
And so...
He's done pretty well.
He's done pretty well in his assignments. And so, in the same way, I'm like surprised that you're this passionate about the role of James Bond. Or is it just that you want Idris Elba to eat? Because I understand that. And I want Idris Elba to eat. I in no way want to take food out of his children's
the opportunity, even if it's just 2 movies. Give him the opportunity.
No, that's not how that franchise works.
We've never had an African American.
Do we need a African American?
It doesn't have to be. Listen, let me tell you what.
Technically, so here's the thing. Right now,
it doesn't have to be. I just think that he would be good at it.
In the latest film, 007 is a black woman.
I know.
She's not James Bond. She's the 007 moniker. The agent number.
I went to see Shang-Chi. I saw Shang-Chi by myself, and I saw the
trailer for No Time to Die.
I understand that, and it's James Craig, and there is
Daniel
an African.
Craig. You're getting all this all wrong.
Daniel Craig. I'm sorry, James Craig. I'm just making up stuff.
You're just making up names.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, no, the woman that is in that movie is from No Remorse or Without Remorse.
Nicole DaCosta.
Yes. Which was on Amazon. That had.
I never saw it.
Oh my gosh. I've seen it 5 times. You haven't seen it?
I haven't watched it.
She is high-ranking soldier in the movie with Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, yeah. I remember that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, Without Mercy.
Without Remorse.
Is it Without Remorse? Oh, yes. Yes.
Without Remorse. Yes. Yeah. So that's the same lady. She's stunning. She's beautiful. Great, she's got like cheekbones like to the gods. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
Can cut diamonds with those cheekbones.
Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. But so yes, so I get that she's in the movie, right?
Yeah.
And that
as 007.
As 007. I love that. But I think that Idris Elba could do.
I'm not saying Idris Elba could not do it.
What you're saying is,
I'm thinking
as far as longevity,
I'm thinking as an exec, and how would you cast the role? Thinking in terms of the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years.
Let's talk about the next 2.
That's not.
And then the next 4.
You try to pick a James Bond that you're going to stick with for a while. It's very rare that we pick one that we only have for one movie.
What's this dude that they keep using? Listen,
Daniel Craig, who was under contract to be James Bond, the guy who is James Bond.
He is James Bond. I get that. And I mean, if we're talking about franchises, right?
Franchises and brands.
Matrix 4.
Wait, why are we? Okay, are we transitioning to a new topic?
Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
The
Matrix is built around Keanu Reeves. Although, had they brought in a new person to be the Neo, I would have totally watched. I'd totally still be down to watch The Matrix 4.
Would you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
If they had brought someone in to do John Wick.
Well, John Wick's different because John Wick's just a guy. The Matrix is literally about you might not be the person you are inside the Matrix. The Matrix is really just an allegory for being a transsexual.
Yeah.
It's about change and being an avatar of yourself in the world and how there's a real world and an internal world. And
sometimes he drops these jewels on me and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Never heard of it.
Both directors,
Never
the Wachowski brothers are now the Wachowski sisters because they finally were able, after their parents died, to accept themselves as women. It's a whole thing.
I'm not saying that's a thing, a bad thing, good or bad, whatever. I get that, but what? Where are you even getting that?
The explosive power of self-discovery. I'm sorry. There have been a lot of online conversations about this since the films. You're not a part of these conversations.
I'm definitely.
I'll send you a YouTube video that will explain.
And maybe I'll get it, and maybe I won't, y'all. Yeah. Big Matrix fan, big Keanu Reeves fan.
I'm not trying to take anything from you by saying this, but this is
big Idris Elba fan.
As this has gone on, we've discovered. Hey, I would pay money to see Idris Elba in The Matrix.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
What is it? Fishburne. Larry Fishburne's not coming back to The Matrix.
He's not. There's another African American guy
who's going to also be in Candyman. He's also the guy from Candyman. He's not going to be Neo. He's going to be Morpheus.
So
why didn't you go see Candyman? Why did you go see Shang-Chi and not Candyman?
So for my mom's weekend, right?
She went to see Shang-Chi instead of
I went to see Shang-Chi.
Oh, that's right. I remember now.
Instead of Candyman.
Even though Candyman is totally up her alley because she loves her some
100%. Candyman's in my alley. But I was going back to a hotel to sleep by myself. And so I wouldn't have like the snoring and the CPAP and the beard to reach over, you know,
and keep her.
And keep me relaxed. Yeah. Also, if I was going to spend my wad, you know, I went to a theater that served wine and it served food. It's like gourmet food. I mean, it's like fancy hamburgers, but whatever. I like, you know, you pay extra for that kind of stuff. And so more times than not, it's about the experience. And so it was like, if I'm going to have an experience, I don't need it to be with Candyman. I didn't see the first Candyman. In the theaters, you know, Shang-Chi, it's a Marvel movie.
It's a good
so I'm
movie.
Obligated.
It's a big bombastic.
I'm obligated as a true blue 100% Marvel fan.
Yeah, who's seen every Marvel movie in the theaters.
I've seen every Marvel movie in the theater.
Second Ant-Man.
Except for the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah. Yes, which I don't feel bad about.
Yeah, it's okay. Paul Rudd will be fine.
He'll make it. He made it in all the other movies that weren't Ant-Man and the Wasp. I've seen every single Marvel movie, and we have Disney Plus, so I've seen
all of them multiple times,
hundreds of times.
She's done multiple viewings.
So Shang-Chi was just like a no-brainer, right? I did have that concern. It's like, I could probably see Candyman. I was like, I'm gonna see Shang-Chi, and I don't regret that.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't imagine that you would.
No, I didn't.
So we started this off by talking about Will Smith,
did.
We've come a long way.
And then we've
look at us. We've come such a long way. And we're near the end here, so we're definitely going to wrap it up for the Hallspace Podcast.
Let me tell y'all, we had so much other stuff on our list.
We always have stuff on our docket, and then we start talking, and we ramble in all these different directions. And now we're here at the end.
So just wait for next week, and we'll talk about the rest of it.
We always have something to talk about.
Always do.
Thanks for those who joined us for this episode.
Really
if you're watching it live,
it.
if you're watching it on record, or if you're listening to us on the podcast on anchor.fm.
We truly appreciate
you taking this time to spend with us. It's always a good time.
It is. You know what the music means.
You know what the music means. Our time is up.
I say good day, sir.
I say good day. The Hallspace Podcast is brought to you by Hall Productions, LLC. Show notes and credits can be found at our webpage, thehallspacepodcast.wordpress.com. Any questions, comments, or concerns can be sent to us at thehallspacepodcast@gmail.com. The show is written by Daggerpin Davis. Music is curated by DJ Cabal. The show is produced by Chuck Jones and recorded at Slash and Trash Studios. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a good week. Hallspace Hall. We rise brilliantly.